Howdy-ho, neighbor. We're gonna start putting some stuff together for dinner, another recipe today. And we're gonna use the pulled pork that we made yesterday. You can probably see it's kind of a theme around here. We'll whip up some meat and then spread it over several meals during the week. It works out real nice that way. So the first recipe we're gonna do with this pulled pork, and I don't know if we're going to do another one or not, but today we're going to make pulled pork enchiladas. So come along for the ride and we'll show you how to do it. Alright, so we got our little saucier on medium heat. And to that we're going to add 3 tablespoons of olive oil. Let that drip out a little bit. Now, just like when you're making gravy or sauce, we're actually making the enchilada sauce right now is what we're doing. Remember, you add your fat to the oil. The only difference with this is we've added our spices into the flour. I mean, add the flour to the oil, not the fat to the oil, silly. But we've added our spices to the flour. So we're going to dump that in there and we'll get it whisking up. And we want those spices to get fragrant. You can already smell them. It smells fantastic. So we've got that mixed up well. So to that we're going to add 2 tablespoons of tomato paste. And we'll whisk that in really well. And then we're going to add our stock. And that's going to be a two-handed operation, so I'm going to let you go for a second. Alright, to our mixture we added 2 cups of chicken stock. You can use beef stock, you can use vegetable stock, you can use any kind of stock you want. But we use chicken today. If I was doing like beef enchiladas, I might add the beef stock to it. But this is going to be our enchilada sauce. And if you've been watching like our sauce videos and stuff like that, we've got the same amount of liquid, the 2 cups that we used in our gravy and our sauce. But you would notice that our roux ingredients, which is the oil and the flour, were less. So automatically you'll think that this sauce is going to be thinner than gravy, which of course it's going to be. And when this thing comes to a boil, it will be as thick as it's going to get, just like we do in any of our other sauce videos. Just using our little whisk to make things things stay off the bottom. And we'll come back when it's thickened up. While we're waiting for our sauce to come to a simmer, we'll tell you what we put into the flour mixture. It was 3 tablespoons of flour to match that 3 tablespoons of olive oil. You can use any oil you want. You could even use butter if you wanted to. But olive oil is a little more heart smart. So to our 3 tablespoons of flour, we added 1 tablespoon of your favorite chili powder. You can add or subtract that depending on your taste, whether you want it more spicy or less spicy. We also added 1 teaspoon of ground cumin, half a teaspoon of garlic powder, 1/4 teaspoon of oregano, dried oregano. I use ground oregano. And then 1/4 teaspoon of salt, a little pinch of cinnamon, which is optional but recommended. And then we added just about probably 1/4 teaspoon of black pepper. So as soon as this comes to a boil and gets as thick as it's going to get, we're going to add a teaspoon of apple cider vinegar just to give it a little bit of acid and a little bit of sweet. And then this will be done, and we can set it aside and wait till we start putting our enchiladas together. If you've never had homemade enchilada sauce, I recommend you try it. You'll never buy the canned stuff again. And you can even make your own chili powder. I've done that before. It's super good. You just take your dried peppers and put them in a food processor along with some other ingredients, 3 or 4 different kinds of peppers. It's really good. So we're starting to simmer, you can see around the edges. So we'll come back when we're ready to go. It has now come to a full boil all the way across the pot. So that's as thick as it's going to get. So now we're going to turn the fire off. And we're going to add our 1 teaspoon of apple cider vinegar. Give it a little brightness. That little touch that it's missing when you taste it. But now it's got everything. So we're going to cool this down, and as it cools down, it's going to get a little bit thicker. And after it comes to room temperature, we'll start putting our enchiladas together. Now, if you don't have apple cider vinegar, you can substitute white vinegar or even lemon juice for that acid in this mixture. Alright, we've warmed up our corn tortillas, and you can use flour, to whatever your preference is. And then I've chopped up some of our pulled pork from yesterday. So good. I've been snacking on that since I got the container out. And I got some fresh white onion that I've chopped up real fine. So we're going to take one of our tortillas that's been warmed up, and we're going to put some of our meat mixture on here. Not a mixture, it's just chopped up pulled pork. And then we're going to add some of our fresh chopped onions to that. And then we're simply going to roll this up just like so. And then we're going to place it into our greased pan over here. So let's do another one for you. Get some of our pulled pork mixture. Don't go crazy on the fillings, you won't be able to close it. Just like those spring rolls we did the other day. Hope you enjoyed those. I sure did. So we'll tuck this in, roll it up, place it in the pan. You want to place it to where the seam side is down, obviously, to hold it all together. And we'll just keep making these. You'll see your traditional Mexican ladies that make these for whatever nationality. I'm sure other nationalities make them as well. They'll take the tortilla and actually dip it into the enchilada sauce. And you can do that. It's just really, really messy. And I don't see the need for it, because we're going to pour the sauce right over these enchiladas. And it's all going to get all over those tortillas and even seep into the ends of them. So I just don't see the need to make all that mess. And that's why I don't. Kelly's family, she's got a enchilada recipe that she got from, I believe, her grandmother. Super good enchilada recipe, and Kelly makes them every now and then. It's got kind of a meat sauce that they make, and you roll the onions and the cheese up in the enchiladas, and then you pour the meat sauce over the top. It's a very interesting preparation, but it's really good too. I really enjoy when Kelly makes those. Maybe she'll share the recipe with us one of these days, huh? Maybe we can talk her into that. You probably guess she's not big on being in videos, so she leaves it mostly to me. I think we're going to try to tuck one more in there on that side. And our corn tortillas don't go all the way across. I could have got some bigger ones, because they do make bigger ones. Little onion in there. So let's tuck these back. Put one more on the end there. There we go. And I think we can get a few here going the other direction, or a couple at least. We want to fill that up so everything's at the right level. And you can change up your fillings, of course, by using chicken or whatever you want to use. You can just make them plain cheese enchiladas if you want. Or beans. Whatever you want to do. Now, a really quick dinner, say you don't want to go to the trouble of making everything from scratch. Another way you can make enchiladas very quickly, you can get those frozen taquitos in the freezer section of your store and just kind of thaw those out and lay them in here and do the same thing that we're doing. Or even frozen burritos. You can thaw those out a little bit and just lay a bunch of frozen burritos in the pan. You can do that if you're in a hurry. Do that in a pinch also. And it works out, and just do the same as the rest that we do. I'm going to heat me up another tortilla that I can put in this little corner here. And we'll be right back. Alright, we got another one heated up here. Now, I don't know if I told you, the reason we heat the tortillas up is to make them more pliable. If you try to do it without heating the tortillas up, they will break and they'll crack on you and be very difficult to handle. So we got a kind of a corner here to fill, so I'm cutting one of those in half. This last one. Put this in first. Put that there. See if I can hold the filling into this one here. Tuck that right in that corner there. You can see what we have here. We've got our little 9x9 dish of enchiladas. So what we're going to do now is we're going to take our beautiful sauce. You can see it kind of skinned up on top. We just stir that right in. Beautiful deep red color. Gorgeous sauce. So we're going to take it and we're going to pour it right over our enchiladas here. And that recipe makes about 2 cups of sauce. And that's going to be just about what you need for this little pan. Of course, you can double it, triple it, quadruple it, do like a big 9x13 pan of this. But it's just Kelly and I here. And we're not having company over tonight that we know of. So this is really all we need to make. We just make sure everything's coated. Make sure that sauce covers everything. So that's all going to sink down into those enchiladas and even go into the inside. So we're going to get our cheese ready. Now, the best cheese for your enchiladas and even your tacos or any Mexican dish you're going to do is this, I call it cojita cheese, but it's pronounced differently. It's cochinilla or something like that. But you get the picture. And it's a harder cheese. It's not the soft like the queso fresco. So you can break this up into crumbles. If you've been to an authentic Mexican restaurant, you'll see this type of cheese. And it's super good. So we're going to cut this open and crumble it up and put it over the top of our enchiladas. So you see the cheese, how it kind of crumbles. You just kind of crumble it in between your fingers. And it makes a really nice crumble. They even put this on top of like refried beans before they bring them to your table. That's that white cheese on top that's melted down into them. That's usually this stuff right here. And that's what makes authentic Mexican food fantastic. So we're going to take some of this, sprinkle it right on top of our enchiladas. It looks like I'm going to have to break up some more. So we'll come back when I got this taken care of. Look at that, my friends. Wow. So we got some of our dried cilantro flakes. I've just kept the shaker. We're using our homemade stuff and home dried stuff in here. So we're going to sprinkle that just a little bit over the top. Not only gives it a little color, but it's going to give it a little bit of that cilantro flavor too. About like that. So right before Kelly gets home, we're going to pop this in the 350-degree oven till it gets all bubbly and ooey gooey. And then we're going to be ready to eat. We'll see you then. I took the rest of what was in those bowls and I'm cheating on Kelly a little bit. Gonna have me a little taster for my after lunch snack. There we go. A fresh, steamy enchilada with homemade enchilada sauce. Folks, that is the best enchilada you're ever going to eat. You will never go back to store-bought enchilada sauce. Now you can make these with green sauce, but I prefer the red. This sauce is also really good if you ever make chilaquiles. Fantastic for that too. That's a breakfast dish with corn tortillas and eggs and cheese. You can imagine that's pretty darn good. But that's a Mexican breakfast dish. So I hope you try these, folks. Man, you don't know what you're missing until you make these. They are so good. And that pulled pork is fantastic. And this is another reason why I don't add the sweet profile to the pulled pork. I don't dump a bunch of barbecue sauce in it, because you can always do that later. If you make it like this with just your favorite seasonings, whatever those are, like I used, you can use them for anything. Last night I had a pulled pork sandwich that's just off the hook. If I make one of those again tomorrow, I may show you how to make one of those. Super good. That's so good. A lot of people you'll see will put some of the enchilada sauce in the meat. I don't do that either because I like layers of flavor. If you mix everything together, you don't get those layers. Layers are very important. You don't want everything to taste the same. As you chew it, you want that whole eating experience to where you're tasting all the different flavors as they cross your palate. Now I can't wait for dinner. That's not going to carry me over. But try this recipe. You will like it. And you're going to thank me for this one. Believe me. So until next time, stay safe, stay healthy. We love you guys. And come on back and see us at Mark Kelly Farms. I'll post a couple links here to the end of the video. You'll see them over here. Love you. Bye.